I got the nickname because I was like the only American at the time, or at least the only American that people knew of. And that name kind of stuck. I liked it. Blah blah blah. A lot of you know me also as the co-founder and the CEO of BitInstant, and I'm also the vice chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation, which put on this conference. It's amazing. Actually, the foundation board members just sat in a room and said yes or no to everything, and Lindsay was the one who really did all the work. So, is Lindsay here? I want to give her a round of applause. Lindsay, we love you. The point of this presentation was set up to be cash deposits, challenges, and ideas. And there are a lot of challenges because in the outset, when you try to describe Bitcoin to someone, what Bitcoin is essentially cash with wings. You're taking something like the credit card, right? The credit card, wire transfers, ACH payments, every form of digital way or way to send money, even checks, over the world, over history, except for cash, except for fiat, is traceable. Every single credit card transaction you do, Big Brother can see. And it's a problem for a lot of people, not for anonymity, but more for privacy. Most of us go into a store and can go into a store like a 7-Eleven, what's up with this money? And buy a pack of gum. And knowing that if you pay cash, then it's a transaction that no one can see. It's a private transaction. And you don't know, when you have $1 in your hands, you don't know what that dollar was used before. Although I've heard a statistic that like 90% of $100 bills have traces of cocaine on it, but I don't know how that is. When you have something like Bitcoin, what really happened here, and that's what scares a lot of people, like regulators, which we'll get into in a second, is that it's essentially cash with wings. So you're taking that local 7-Eleven payment for a pack of gum or a cup of coffee, and you're given that ability to do a worldwide transfer. It's like if you have your cash and they have some wings on it. But at the same time, Bitcoin is not inherently anonymous. And that's a very, very big common misconception. And unfortunately, it's a lot of the things that have subscribing to people. It's like, oh, Bitcoin is anonymous. No, it's not. Just like everything else, there are the abilities for it to be anonymous. And everyone was like, why? No, this is a great microphone. Is it good?
Well, we're just cutting out on your smart supply. That right there's hot right now.
Testing 1, 2, 3. This one works too. I'll use both because I like to move around a little bit.
I want to see why that one's cutting out.
Oh, all right. So it's no problem. So I lost my train of thought, I think, but we'll just pick up from wherever. And that's what an issue that I have found explaining Bitcoin to people was that they assume that it's this anonymous currency that's used by drug dealers and terrorists, blah blah blah. But a lot of us know that's not true, and a lot of us that are sitting in this room have startups and have companies that are trying to take Bitcoin and take it mainstream. Because why? What is Bitcoin on the highest level? Bitcoin is two things. Bitcoin is the largest global payment infrastructure that the world has ever seen. You're talking about a payment system that has no central authority that you need to trust. There's no central Visa transaction server. I remember a few months ago I read a story that in Canada, the central Visa transaction server went down for like a day for a power outage. And that meant that anyone using a Visa credit card in Canada can't use their Visa cards for that day. And you're talking about people who have debit cards and credit cards that rely on it, like myself. I don't carry cash. Like, why? Why do we have that issue? Why is there some central location that can cause these problems? So Bitcoin solved that problem, is that when you have a decentralized database spread all over the world, and it kind of serve that purpose when you have this global payment system. But at the same time, Bitcoin is also this unit of value, and this unit of value that can be transferred and has a price and trades on exchanges. And really, the reason Bitcoin attracts so many people, because not only is it this amazing payment system and it's this currency that's out of the hands of any government or corporation, but it attracts a lot of people who believe in Austrian economics. And I graduated from college with a degree in Keynesian economics, which I didn't even know Austrian economics existed at the time until after I graduated. And then someone gave me like these books, I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. Not spending money to save the economy? Really? That can work? Because you're taught that the way economics needs to work is that you need to be really, really, really involved in a local economy. Government needs to be super involved. And that is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not super on the right and all over the place. I think that there is involvement and there needs to be some sort of involvement by more like a consumer protection bureau type of entity that to protect consumers. Because at the end of the day, you want to go to a website or a store and make sure they're not going to come and scam you. Which is another problem Bitcoin solves, because if that happens with one Bitcoin transaction, and we saw that with a lot of these Bitcoin fly-by-night sites, is that as soon as one person gets screwed over, these sites can't handle it anymore and they have to shut down because people don't trust them anymore, and we change overnight. And that was a great reason. One of the great reasons that I got into Bitcoin is that I saw this super raw infrastructure of a payment system, and I said, wow, people are going and they're let's just take a Filipino nurse, for example. She is coming here from the Philippines. She's making $100 a week, and she's trying to send most of that home to her family. And she goes to Western Union and having to pay 9-10% for that, and the family has to wait like 3 days for that to happen. Doesn't make sense to me. You look at something like being able to do micropayments on the internet. You know, when you go to Wall Street Journal now, or you go to a lot of like Financial Times, they have this concept of paywall where you have to pay like $12 a month just to read one article. But who wants to do that? Who wants to pay $12 just to read one article? You want to read this article now. You want that instant satisfaction. Imagine if it said, send a Satoshi or send 0.01 Bitcoins. Most people would do that. I look at things like what Flatter tried to do with micro donations. You have a guy on YouTube and he's putting his song up and he has no record contract. Imagine the ability from worldwide, not just America, not just Europe, not just the UK, worldwide currency that anyone can be involved in. And it's really such a beautiful thing. So I said, wow, this Bitcoin thing is crazy. And everyone laughed at me. When I first started BitInstant, I had to get money from my mother because I was laughed out of every venture capital firm in Manhattan. No one understood what Bitcoin was. I didn't understand what Bitcoin was. This was like 3 years ago. And I literally said, Mom, I love this idea. I put all my money into it and we're growing so quickly. I need more money. And she wrote me a check that day. Still doesn't understand what we do. Still today. And it's very hard to explain it to her, but I'm going to get there. The day I can explain to my mother what Bitcoin is in one sentence will be the day that I think Bitcoin has reached the mainstream. And we're getting so close. I never thought that a year ago that we'd be sitting in this room having a conference with over 1,100 people registered. It's insane. I mean, Bitcoin is already, you walk in anywhere in the world, in California, New York, or in Europe, and ask someone, have you heard of the Bitcoin thing? And more often than not, people will say yes. And it's crazy because it's really getting that, just even if they don't understand what it is, getting the word into someone's head is super important. So why cash? When we started BitInstant, we wanted a way for people to be able to buy Bitcoin super easy. And there's a lot of challenges, especially in the regulatory environment with that. And a lot of exchanges went the route of doing ACH. For example, a lot of you know what happened with the Wallet Trade Hill issue was that they were doing ACH into it, and because Bitcoins are inherently irreversible, it's a push payment, that when you do something like an ACH transfer, where you have 90 days to pull it back, and you can't pull back the Bitcoins, it's very easy to get screwed over. So cash is the only real way, the only real method of payment besides for Bitcoin that's actually irreversible. So I said, all right, let's tap into this network. Let's tap into the ability for people who have cash in their pockets, who get their paycheck, and want to be able to buy Bitcoin, send it to anywhere in the world, and truly make the concept of cash with wings possible. If I can take that into one company, BitInstant, and make it that if you have cash in your pocket now, within an hour, your family in Russia can have cash in their pocket, then I've succeeded. And what we can do is use Bitcoin as a back-end settlement system for that. Meaning that instead of using wire transfers, I can use Bitcoin to pay my payment partners all over the world large amounts of money safely and securely at 2 in the morning. There was